Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Beersworth Gonzalez Gymnasium on the campus of New Bedford High School, where tonight the New Bedford Cable Network is proud to present boys high school basketball action. The homestanding New Bedford High Whalers taking on the Durfee High Hilltoppers. Joe Cabral joined by my partners tonight, Chris Santos and Evan Massoud of Fred TV, as we have a matchup here tonight, a traditional one. We have Durfee taking on New Bedford. It happens to be senior night as well. We're in the midst of the senior introductions here, pictures, photo shoot at center court, and getting ready for a big basketball game here tonight between New Bedford and Durfee. The Whalers at 7-10 on the season need to win out to qualify for the postseason. Durfee at 3-14, no postseason aspirations here in 2020, but they'd like to be spoilers. They've done it in the past to the Whalers.
Yeah, and don't tell Joe DeCruz that, because he knows what this game means for New Bedford High School. And obviously New Bedford has to take it one game at a time, so you got to win the first one before you get to Burke and Taunton and try to win those. And I think it's a little extra motivation, let's say, Evan, for Coach DeCruz to talk to his kids and say, hey, listen, we know this has been a rivalry in the past. We can knock them right out of playoffs if we play our kind of effective Durfee basketball tonight.
No, you're absolutely right, Chris. And, I mean, you were with me for the boys game back in Fall River back in January. And, you know, a three-point game, it was anybody's game. It was a very competitive game, and arguably, I think, some of the best basketball Durfee's played all year. You know, the 3 wins for Durfee, they easily could have 6 or 7. Some really close losses, one of them being the New Bedford one. But, you know, Somerset was one, Dartmouth more recently. So there was some room there, and unfortunately the Hilltoppers had trouble closing it out. And, you know, it cost them some wins this season.
Yeah, it's something that Coach DeCruz talked about, how he's having some late game difficulties trying to close games out, struggling a lot in the fourth. And last time we were on the air, Joe, we saw a very good New Bedford High team with David Abelarinois and Carlos Lugo, and actually send Brockton into overtime, end up losing that game, and then unfortunately didn't kind of show up against Dartmouth and got handed to it over in Dartmouth, and now they're struggling to have to win their last 3.
Yeah, they're up against it now, Chris, with this as their final home game, then 2 more on the road. So for New Bedford, got to take care of business here tonight. Evan, as you join us here, give us a breakdown on Durfee High basketball here in 2020.
Well, you know, I think Chris said it best, you know, coming straight from Coach DeCruz, who, might I add, in his first year as varsity is probably one of the more optimistic coaches I've ever met. But he's no stranger to the Hilltoppers system here. You know, he was the freshman coach for Jamison Guimond. So, you know, a lot of the players know him. But it's about getting used to the style, of course. It's a young Durfee team. You know, last game out, Chris mentioned that, you know, the fourth quarter's been troublesome. Well, last game out for Durfee, which was the last time they played, a week ago, they faced BR. They led 41-38 after 3. They lost 60-48. So talk about fourth quarter problems. They reared their ugly head last Friday.
And Chris, you alluded to the fact that in the game against Brockton, we really saw a fine performance from David Abelarinois and Carlos Lugo, but Abelarinois especially. And for New Bedford to win here tonight, I would think they would need Abelarinois to have a similar type of performance.
Joe, it's very simple. When he has stayed out of foul trouble, he has been a very consistent ball player. When he finds himself in foul trouble, then obviously he's on the bench. Then you got to roll the dice, and then when he does come in, he's not sure if he should take his chance on defense, and then obviously transition basketball to get some easy baskets along to go with Lugo. So he has to stay on the court as long as possible, as he did against Brockton. And remember, Brockton is not small. That is a very big team, and he showed what kind of player he can be against that talent.
And he's really the lone player for New Bedford who can bring a physical presence, not just height, but certainly a big body, and he can play inside.
Yeah, and that's something that we talked about with Evan up in Durfee that I thought he took advantage of against a little bit smaller Durfee team And Durfee tried to come back in that game with a smaller lineup, and I thought that Abelarino did a good job of using the inside game when needed to, along with some nice turnovers from Lugo to get some good, easy baskets, and that pushed them over the edge in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, Evan, New Bedford to counter David Abelarino, Durfee, I should say. How will they play it down low?
Well, not on the roster tonight is the big center, Ariel Pereira. He did not get any playing time last Friday either, so there have been a couple guys who have kind of been on and off for Durfee this year, and I think he's one of them down the stretch here. So really down low, you're going to be looking for Elijah Coleman to step up. And, he's had some pretty decent minutes, but not usually a starter. He is tonight. Pereira's been the big guy for Durfee underneath, and he had a good game against New Bedford the first time.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good. I thought he controlled Abelarino just to kind of give him a little bit of balance down there. And it was nice to see for Durfee that they had someone that could do that. He is not here tonight, and as he says, I think Coleman's going to have a big game and try to obviously stay in the game as long as he can and stay out of foul trouble.
Dee Cavallo is another one as well. He kind of floats. He's listed as a forward, but you see him underneath getting a lot of rebounds as well. So he doesn't just stick to one role. He's kind of, let's say, a hybrid player. So you'll see him down low as well. He's also a starter tonight for Durfee. You guys mentioned for New Bedford, Lugo. Lugo's the one who went off in that first game against Durfee with 25 points. So I'd be interested to see how the Hilltoppers are going to contain him, especially without that big body of Pereira down low.
Yeah, Joe, and it was that second half where the press kind of hurt Durfee. And obviously, Lugo with that wingspan on the ball, creating some turnovers and getting some easy baskets, that really helped them there. So it'll be interesting to see how Durfee, what they can do against the press here tonight to kind of take away Lugo and maybe get some of those easy baskets.
Yeah, and we've seen Carlos play it both ways, Chris, outside and inside. In the game against Brockton, he was impressive where he really went to the offensive glass quite a bit and helped New Bedford get back in it and then eventually force the overtime where they lost. But I would think here tonight again, when we've seen Carlos Lugo at his best, he's tried to come out early and play inside initially in the game and then move to the outside later in the contest.
I think for New Bedford, though, if it doesn't work down low, who's going to step up on the outside? Whether it's Baptiste, Fonseca, Rodriguez, Valero, it's a host of guys, Joe, that's interchangeable with Matt Hill. And I think he kind of just figures out, hey, let me roll with the hot hand, who's ever getting it going during that time. And I think he'll do the same thing again here tonight.
When we talk about Durfee, Evan, and scoring, where will the scoring come from here tonight, or where will Durfee need the scoring to come from?
Well, I think the answer is twofold. The spark plug this season and even last year in his freshman year is Javon Holly, number one. But he can't do it alone, and that's the bottom line. There's 5 players on the court. Javon's just one of them. He had 17 first half points in the New Bedford game in the first matchup. 0 points in the third, and that's because of that press that Chris mentioned. They really shut him down. He came back to life in the fourth, but it was too little too late. Jadynn Lewis and Jason Hall, also younger players, they've had some great games as well for Durfee this year. Jadynn Lewis, 13 in the New Bedford game. Going back to last Friday, Hall had a great game, one of his best that we've seen this season. He had 19 points by my unofficial scoring here. So he hit 3 from downtown. So he actually had more points than Holly last Friday. So, it's contributions up and down the lineup that have been very inconsistent. You can't rely on one player. You got to get everybody involved. So I'd really love to see a balanced Durfee offensive output tonight. We really haven't seen that this season down in Fall River.
I think Hall is the big one for me, Evan.
Yeah.
I thought he was real quiet in that game over in Durfee against New Bedford. I think he needs to have one of those kind of games to really get him going. As you said, 19, he shows flashes.
Yeah.
Let's see if he shows it here compared to 2 points when they played New Bedford the first time.
Exactly.
Nice crowd here tonight at the Beardsworth Gonzalez Gymnasium. We're about 5 minutes away from the opening tip. Joe Cabral, Chris Santos, and Evan Massoud here at the Ed Rodrigues Court, the Beardsworth Gonzalez Gymnasium, getting ready for high school basketball. The Whalers at 7-10 need to close out the season with 3 wins to make the postseason. And Durfee coming into this one at 3-14. But as we often say in these types of matchups, regardless of the sport, throw out the records. And we saw
of course.
that during the gridiron season, and we also saw it here when New Bedford was taking on Brockton with only 1 loss, and the Whalers were on the verge of pulling a big upset, a game they certainly had opportunities to win, but could not. And, you know, we've talked about New Bedford's David Abelarino, Chris, and I think the big thing that you pointed out is indeed foul trouble for David. And we were here, I can't remember who the opponent was, but just the week prior to the Brockton matchup, and he had foul trouble in the first 3 minutes of the first quarter. He had 2 fouls, did not play the rest of the first half, played very little in the third quarter when he got his 3rd foul, and then by the time he got into the game in the 4th quarter, he really was not effective at all.
Joe, I don't mind fouls when you have to. It's when you do it and how he does it that if you're going to do a little hand check foul and you're going to get called for that, you don't need to be doing that. If you're taking a body on underneath, hey, and you're fighting down below for a rebound, hey, I understand those fouls. I'm talking about silly ones that I don't think he should be around or sniffing in that department. Unfortunately, he's tenacious, he's ferocious, he wants the ball, and when you do that, you take your chances. And fortunately for him, in some games it's worked, in some games it hasn't.
And we've talked about balanced scoring, but Chris, we've also seen inconsistent play from New Bedford's better players. And Abelarino, we just alluded to David's problems at times with foul trouble, but we've even seen that from Carlos Lugo. In some games, he's absolutely outstanding and seems unstoppable, and then the next game really doesn't get going offensively often until very late in the game. So I think for New Bedford to make the postseason, they need big contributions from Lugo as well as Abelarino consistently in the 3 games that remain here in 2020.
Well, he's been the most consistent of anybody on this team. So obviously the offense rolls around him. And again, he gets most of it coming from that pressure that they give on that press. And as soon as it's a turnover, they look for him and then turn around and go right back up. So it'll be interesting to see how, again, Durfee handles that as we get ready for our national anthem on the Ed Rodrigues Court, who's in the building, gentlemen, because obviously his son is the JV coach of the Durfee Hilltoppers. So he's sitting behind us. Always nice to have Coach Rodrigues here. And also, if it's any indication of what we saw in the JV game, this is going to be a fiery kind of varsity game, because it was a little excitement there in the JV game won by Durfee, who Evan has alluded to tell us that they are having a tremendous season, which will mean nothing but good things in the future for Durfee.
Durfee starters being introduced. Number 1 is Javon Hawley. He'll be joined in the backcourt by number 5, Jadynn Lewis. In the 3-guard system, it'll be Jay Hall, wearing number 20 here tonight. Nelson Dee Cavallo, wearing number 25, will be on the back line for Durfee. And he'll be joined by number 35, Elijah Coleman. The 5 starters here tonight for Durfee: Hawley, Lewis, Hall, Dee Cavallo, and Coleman. New Bedford starters now being introduced. Here's Kobe Fonseca, wearing number 2. He'll be one of the forwards here tonight for the Whalers. Also on that front line will be number 22, Elijah Ribeiro. All seniors starting here tonight for the Whalers. Number 31 is Gabriel Valerio. wearing number 31. David Ablarinwa wearing number 34, the big man in the middle here tonight. He'll need to be at the top of his game for New Bedford. And Carlos Lugo wearing number 5, also along that front line. Lugo, as Chris mentioned, their leading scorer throughout the season. Crowds rising here at the Beardsworth Gonzalez Gymnasium for our national anthem. Our national anthem from the Beardsworth Gonzalez Gymnasium. Chris alluded to the fact that the junior varsity game had a bit of extra emotion involved in it, so maybe a little bit of spillover here tonight into the varsity matchup, so we'll have to watch it. Big crowd in attendance here tonight, Chris, on the far side of the floor, so I think we'll have a raucous crowd here tonight.
Yeah, I think so, and you know, the varsity saw what happened in the JV game, and they got a little emotional about it. So I think that will carry over. But like I said, it's Durfee, New Bedford. The Crews, I'm sure, has told them what this rivalry is all about. And I'm sure he's told them, hey, listen, we knock them off. We've knocked them out. And that's what we want to do here tonight. So they should be up for it. I'm expecting a good game from start to finish.
We're glad you're with us here tonight, whether it's live on Facebook or on Saturday evening on the New Bedford Cable Network, as we are just seconds away from the opening tip. It'll be Ablarinwa against Coleman. New Bedford in their home white with red numerals and red and silver trim. Durfee in their road red with black numerals and black and white trim. Here we go with the opening tip. And it goes out of bounds. I believe it's off New Bedford. We'll see.
Saying off Ablarinwa.
Yes. And Durfee will inbound.
Well, let's look for matchups, fellas, and see who's covering who.
Whalers with a man-to-man defense out of the gate here. That's number 25, Dee Cavallo, around the perimeter. From distance, Lewis, and his shot is good. So Jadynn Lewis right out of the gate with a 3, and Durfee leads it early on 3-0. Fonseca right side of the arc, skip pass, get the ball to Ablarinwa. Now back to Lugo, he'll shoot a 3, no good, rebound inside, followed by Fonseca, no good, and now Durfee has it, and that's Jay Hall. Hilltopper's trying to run the floor, advance the basketball, left side of the floor. That's Hawley. Back up top. Lewis, number 5. Now Hawley works to the left hand, pull-up jumper, shot no good. Didn't draw iron, then a follow inside, no good by Coleman. Rebound this time to New Bedford's Valerio.
Yeah, good position by Coleman. Just got out of control there, Evan. If he takes his time, gets his feet set, I think he's got a bucket.
That's Valerio for 3. Banks one in. Well, I'm sure not what he intended, but it still counts, and we're tied at 3.
No, you're absolutely right, Chris. So talking about Coleman, you know, he had time to set. He did get the rebound, and, you know, little cleaner set, and you might have seen a basket and even a foul because it was, you know, a couple bodies down low there.
Hall tried a 3 from the corner, shot no good. New Bedford with it, but a turnover. This is Lewis with the basketball. Bounce pass. Got it to Hawley.
Wow, that's shocking. Thought for sure that'd be a foul on Lugo with the body.
No call there as
Wow.
the ball goes out of bounds off of Durfee. So still tied at 3, 6:25 left, first quarter action. This is Fonseca, left side of the arc. Goes high post, Ribeiro around the perimeter now by New Bedford. Get it to Lugo along the baseline, double teamed immediately. Lugo, nice pass, got it to Ribeiro. He had Abelarino open on the weak side, but the ball was knocked away by Durfee's Coleman. Whalers go to the bench immediately as Ribeiro hobbles to the sideline. Number 4, Baptiste, will check in. So New Bedford losing some size there. They get it to Lugo. Kick to the corner. Valerio for 3. Shot rims out. Nice rebound inside by Coleman. Here's Durfee's Hawley. Left hand. Dribble. Got it to Hall. He'll be called for steps.
Took it, Evan. Got a nice pass from Hawley. Just got too excited and then moved his feet too fast before he put the ball down.
Yeah, another example. Plenty of time to take the shot. I mean, he was really the lone man down there. It was just a one-on-one to the basket.
New Bedford works to the high post to Lugo. Now around the perimeter. Fonseca tried to get it to Baptiste. Ball was deflected and stolen here by Hall. Hall right sideline. Pound the dribble, and then he's fouled. Let's see who it's against.
Foot actually got caught on the basketball right there. Lucky he didn't roll the ankle. Kind of went down awkwardly.
Foul against Derek Baptiste, his first. Team's first. Still tied at 3, 5:39 left, first quarter action. Hall to trigger the inbound. Knocked away by Abelarino, and the Whalers have it. And then Lugo is called for steps.
Well,
Abelarino, bumped into him.
Yeah, they banged into each other, and the ref said, you took steps before you threw it. But see, how that pass came into Durfee, normally Abelarino would be called for a foul there, and that would be like a silly foul to take. But they didn't call it, so they're letting him play.
Here's Hawley, being guarded by Baptiste. Gets to the paint, kicks to Lewis for 3. Shot was deflected. Loose inside, and a tie-up between Baptiste and Coleman. The arrow favors New Bedford.
No, both teams slow to get going on the offense, fellas. Trying to generate something down low for New Bedford and up top mostly for Durfee.
High post, Abelarino works his way inside, squeezes one up, count the basket, and David Abelarino will go to the free throw line.
See if we got that on replay. Watch that head and shoulder fake. Take one away, then goes underneath and goes strong to the basket. Here you go, Evan. Let's watch it. Inside, look, the little fake right there, then goes underneath, then strong. See, what I like is, though, Evan, he's strong going in there.
Right.
He's not afraid to put the body.
No, and that's kind of, the opposite of what we just saw the other side with Durfee is, they got to draw the fouls, and if Durfee's undermanned in terms of size, they got to make those drives to the basket.
That's Hawley to the goal. Was defended well. New Bedford comes up with a rebound. Running the floor. Here's Baptiste. Over the top. Got it to Lugo to the paint. Kicks to the corner. Valerio thought about the 3, but pulls it out. Got it to Abelarino. He'll kick to the corner to Lugo. That's a 3. Shot front iron. No good. Rebound loose, and Durfee has it. This is Coleman.
And the other difference, Evan, is your big guys getting the ball. Once you get it inside, continue to go strong to the basket, not back out of it and try to take some fadeaways. You got to be aggressive. Create the contact. Even if you don't make it, hopefully you get the foul.
All right, and you're seeing New Bedford just on this last transition. Even we saw New Bedford playing some guys back. The press was like constant in the second half of the first matchup between these two teams, and the buzzers going off here at the gym.
Those are not the ones that the Astros are now being accused of using.
You see, they issued a formal apology today. It seems like they're finally owning it. A number of players, including Altuve and Correa, they actually we're sorry. We know we did the wrong thing. I mean, they actually admitted fault.
The guys off the team have been doing it for a few days now, so I guess they felt like, well, we better step up here. We're going to look like we're not remorseful. So timeout on the floor. Officials at the scorer's table. 5-3 game with New Bedford in the lead. 4:40 left.
Calling a technical.
Technical foul called against New Bedford, a team technical.
I'm not sure what that was about, but.
So not directed to a player specifically. So I don't know what that is, except they did substitute. So maybe they put players on the floor. Free throw up, no good by Holly without going to the scorer's table. So we have number 3 on the floor, Rodriguez, as well as Dosenberg. Maybe they did not go to the scorer's table. That's my guess. 1 of 2 for Javon Hawley, and so it's 5-4 New Bedford. I would think that's what it must have been, guys.
That's the only thing I can think of.
There was nothing else going on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, the ball was kicked out of play. He had a kick ball. It was a reset of the shot clock. Nothing else happened.
That's Hawley with the basketball with the left hand now between the legs twice. Got it in the corner to Lewis, back to Hawley. Hawley, a step back, will take a 3. Back iron, no good. Rebound inside, Abelarinwa with the big body.
You see Abelarinwa right there, kind of a little bit of an elbow there, kind of gave a little bit of a nudge to Dee Cavallo underneath to kind of create his own space and box out. There's going to be some rubbing under there all night.
He spreads out. He boxes out, Chris. We don't see a lot of boxing out anymore in high school basketball, but Abelarinwa does box out.
It's what we call a heavy elbow, Evan. Heavy. Not tapping. We're going in heavy.
Yeah, right.
That's a big boy.
My lane.
Yes. I think that's what he's at least trying to tell him.
Right.
Baptiste inbound. Got it to Abelarinwa. Back up top to Baptiste. Inside Dawsonberg, off his hands and out of bounds.
And Dawsonberg cutting back door. Baptiste saw him just a little high.
Halfway through this first quarter, 5-4 New Bedford. Low scoring action here early on. Hesitation dribble there by Lewis. He could have been called for steps, and now
still letting him play though, Joe, because there was a little bump there, and they're just letting it go.
They're just saying he lost the ball out of bounds. Bumped into the New Bedford defender.
Yep.
Ball went out of bounds. No call other than out of bounds.
Yeah, actually, I think it was the foot. I think his foot came out from under him. I think that's actually where the out of bounds came from. So he went head first, and his body was facing us.
New Bedford leading at 7-4. Here's Coleman. Nice kick inside. Got it to Dee Cavallo, and he's fouled. So nice pass there from Coleman.
Right, but I want to see. This is what. Let's see if we have the replay here, Joe, because I want you to watch this foul on Abelarinwa. See, to me, he should have not have committed this foul. I thought this was something that the Durfee player was out of control and back to the glass and was going to throw some kind of reverse up. Let's watch it again. So watch Abelarinwa. He's going to come in as the pass goes over. Now watch when the guy gets the ball. He kind of turns and see how he spins around.
Yeah,
I just don't think you need to do that.
And you got to know when you beat, and you also got to know when you have a propensity to get into foul trouble. And David Abelarinwa has to stay on the floor, so you can't commit those types of fouls.
Well, the Hilltoppers hanging in here thanks to some of the free throws. They've been to the line twice, and those 3 points at the line have kept it a 1-point game, because just the one from the field, which was Lewis's game-opening 3. Other than that, quiet for Durfee.
Abelarinwa with a rebound. Now Durfee has it. This is number 1, Hawley. Works to the paint with the right hand. His shot is good.
And that's what he can do, Joe. He can create his own shot, and he does it well.
This is Rodriguez to the paint. Kicks inside nicely. Dawsonberg lays it in.
That was beautiful, beautiful setup.
And they've tried that a few times, and this one finally paid off.
Ryan Dawsonberg's first points. Here's Jay Hall. Works to the paint. Tries to go up. Was defended by Dawsonberg. Loose ball. They'll get it here to Hawley.
High pick.
Pick and roll. Hawley with the right hand. And Javon Hawley works to the paint. Chris mentioned the high pick and roll, and he used it effectively.
Impressive, though, Evan. See how he lost the ball, then gained control of it and still got the shot off.
Right, they give it little NBA steps right there. There's more than the 2 steps.
That's Kobe Fonseca from distance. Hits New Bedford's second 3 of the night. It's 12-10 now, Whalers. This is Hawley. Nice kick inside. Jay Hall off the glass, lay it in.
And there's a player that I'd like to see get going if you're Durfee.
Timeout as Valerio checks in quickly. New Bedford making a substitution.
Nice burst of offense for both sides over the last 60 seconds or so.
We're tied at 12 now, 2 minutes left. First quarter action. Around the perimeter here by New Bedford now. Dawsonberg, low post, bad pass taken away from Baptiste. And now Durfee's Coleman. Advanced the ball. Got it to Lewis. Now they'll kick it back to Lewis. Around the perimeter. Here's Jay Hall. Here's Hawley. Thought about it. Now gets it to Lewis. He'll work to the paint. Bounce pass inside. Got it to Hall. They're going to count the basket. And he's fouled.
Well, you called the look by Lewis, Joe. Very impressive. Left Hall there, and he'll go to the line and shoot. Rodriguez gets called for it. Team's fourth foul to Durfee's 1.
14-12. Durfee out in front. A minute 30 left here in the first quarter. Misses the free throw. Here's Baptiste. New Bedford had numbers. Bounced it ahead to Rodriguez inside. Ribeiro. Now around the perimeter for New Bedford. Lugo from the corner for 3. Shot no good. And this is what I mentioned, Chris, with Lugo. Gets caught in that outside game early on. Hasn't really gone to the basket at all here. Valerio with a rebound off a miss. Now Baptiste look to go inside. He'll be called for steps.
Trying to move the ball too quickly. And he slid, and the ref was there to see it.
Still 14-12 Durfee. New Bedford with a 1-2-2. Three-quarter court press. That's Hawley. Works inside with the right hand. They're going to call him for steps.
Wow.
Now, you get some that will give that,
Yeah.
and you got some who will not give that. It's as simple as that. So I can't can't fault them for that.
From distance, Baptiste shot no good. Rebound to Durfee. Taken away nicely by Valerio, though. And he's going to be called for steps. It's going to be one of those nights for traveling violations.
Yeah, turnovers everywhere.
43.7 seconds left. First quarter action. Nice work there by Hawley to beat the press, then turns it over. Here's Lugo. He'll cross the timeline with the left hand. Lugo got to work to the paint, kicks to the corner. Baptiste going to go with a teardrop off the side of the glass.
Kind of just lost where he was on the court.
Here's Coleman. He gets it to Hawley, way up top. Durfee can hold it for the final shot. That's Nowicki. Thought about it. Goes from distance. Front iron, no good. Rebound to New Bedford. They can get a final shot here now. Here's Lugo. Tries to work to the paint. Runner, no good, but he's fouled with 0.7 seconds left.
I don't know about you. I didn't hear anything on that foul. And, Hall took a real good swipe. You'd think you would have heard skin contact. We'll see the replay here.
You got it, Evan. See what you see there.
I think that was all ball. I mean, we're right in front of it. Usually I can hear it at the top of the bleachers at the field house in Fall River. So I don't know about that one, but Lugo's going to get the 2 shots regardless.
Lugo hits.
Surprised to see, Joe, that was only his first point of the game.
First point, Chris, and the first time he's really gone to the bucket.
Yeah.
And 2 free throws for Carlos Lugo. So we will be tied after a quarter of play. First quarter complete. New Bedford and Durfee tied at 14.
Oh, very slow stop by both teams. Couldn't get the offense going, and then Evan alluded to that little spurt. It was like a 2-minute spurt there that teams obviously started to get things going. 4 guys on the scoreboard for Durfee and 5 guys on the scoreboard for New Bedford in the scoring department. We're tied at 14. 4 fouls against New Bedford and only 2 against Durfee. So letting them play, boys. Letting them play.
Well, looking back at the first matchup, I got the book out here, and, it was 20-11 New Bedford after one quarter. So, this one's still tied. It shows, Durfee's offense a little better, the defense playing a little better. Now what I'm interested to see is, Chris, you were a prophet last time about how bad the second quarter has been typically for New Bedford this season. So, Durfee not down by 9, they're tied. You wonder how this second quarter is going to go for New Bedford. Has that still been the trend over this last month since we saw each other?
One of the things, though, Evan, that's different is this roster has been down a little bit now for New Bedford. So the numbers are a little bit lower, which means the starting 5 are not out and new guys are coming in. So you're going to see Lugo, who stays in, and Abelarino and Fonseca, a little bit more consistency in the lineup. So, no, it has not been as much as it was when they had more numbers on the roster.
I mean, that drop-off in the second quarter for New Bedford back at Durfee. Durfee hung 27 points on them in that second quarter back in January. So, I mean, that's a major drop-off.
Steps called against Jay Hall. Same type of move. Tried the jump stop. The official would have none of it. They're calling that as traveling here tonight.
Players like Dunstan and players like Morgan, who are not on the bench here tonight. And so obviously it makes it a little bit easier to know who you're playing.
Much shorter bench for New Bedford, and I think that helps Durfee a bit here, as they've only gone one deep here so far tonight with Jeriel Rivera on the floor. Here's Abelarino, got it to Valerio. Kick to the corner, Fonseca. Low block, Abelarino with a left hand.
Yeah, but I like the look from Fonseca. They played a high pick. He comes off the screen. He's going to take the 3. Nope. He rolls, gets it to him. Easy 2.
Hawley lost it. Abelarino with it. 3-on-3. Tried to advance it to Valerio, and it's stolen right back. This time by Lewis. Now he'll run the floor. Lewis lost it as he bumped it to Rodriguez. Now Lugo. He could have been called for steps. Off the glass, Rodriguez lays it up and in.
Should have been called for steps.
I thought so.
Especially with the way they've been calling it tonight in the first half. You saw that burst of speed from Lewis. I mean, that's the football speed between him, Hawley, and Hall. They're so strong, their legs so fast.
That's a 3 off the glass. No good by Lewis. Rebound here to New Bedford's Rodriguez. He'll run the floor in the corner. Valerio runs the baseline. Got it to Abelarino. Now Lugo. He'll take a 3. Shot no good. Rebound inside.
Good look, though, that time from Joe. Just didn't make it.
Hawley there. Tried to split 2 defenders. Was able to do so and draws a foul. So New Bedford already with 5 team fouls. That's a second on Rodriguez. 18-14. Whalers lead it. 6:25 left, second quarter. Delighted to have you with us on Facebook Live and the New Bedford Cable Network and Fred TV.
Great to be here. Appreciate the invite.
Bounce pass inside. Move there by Coleman, and he lays it up and in.
Now that's a lot better, Evan, because he just turned to the basket and went straight up.
Oh, yeah, much cleaner take than we saw in that first quarter.
18-16. New Bedford by 2. Fonseca off the glass. They're going to count the basket. And he's going to go to the free throw line.
That's going to be on Hall, though. That's going to be his second. Let's see if the Cruz goes to the bench or not.
5 points now for Kobe Fonseca. Make it 6 as the Whalers lead at 21-16 inbound here. This is Jay Hall across the timeline. Pound it with a right hand. Kick to the corner. Now back up top. That's Coleman from way downtown. Off the glass on a 3 attempt. No good. Rebound. They'll get it right back to him. Goes to the goal, and they're going to call a block. And Chris, it's against David Abelarino.
Quickly, Toppy will get up and off the bench.
That's going to send David Abelarino to the bench.
I don't like the 3 from Coleman. I mean, everybody wants to hit 3s, but that's really not his bread and butter. You know, he's essentially the big guy, the center underneath. He's got to drive that lane. He's got to be working under the basket. The outside shot, I'm actually shocked that Lewis didn't take it because he had an open shot from the corner, but then again, he's missed a few over the last 5 minutes of play.
Will Nieves Martinez checking in for Durfee, number 10. He'll replace Jay Hall. Coleman gets a second free throw attempt. Knuckleball, no good. Rebound inside, however, to Rivera for Durfee.
Lugo lost him.
Way up top. That's Hawley for 3. Shot no good. Rebound Baptiste. Going to advance it to Lugo. Had a look at a 3, turned it down. Now they'll go back up top, Baptiste. 21-17, New Bedford. 5:14 left. First half action. Tarpey will go back up top, Valerio. Going to reset the offense. Now get it to Baptiste with 6 on the shot clock. Fonseca try to get to the paint. Nearly lost it. Squeezes one up and in.
Well, he did lose it, Joe, but he gained it back.
That's a heck of an effort right there for Fonseca.
23-17. New Bedford leading it by 6. That's Lewis. Got it to Hawley. Now way up top, Nieves Martinez. They'll move it around the perimeter. That's Dee Cavallo. He got it to Lewis. Shot no good, but a foul is called inside. And that will send number 5, Jadynn Lewis, to the free throw line to shoot 2. New Bedford already with 17 fouls, so that means from here on out in the first half, Durfee will go to the free throw line. And
now, more importantly, Joe, though, is the Hilltoppers got to start hitting from the field. You know, they started the first quarter pretty cold. Starting the second quarter pretty cold here, almost 4 minutes into it, and just the one field goal for Coleman. They're not hitting the shots from the field, and you know that's why the lead now for New Bedford, 5 points.
1 of 2 for Lewis. The ball out of bounds. It'll stay with Durfee.
And again, 2 times in a row, cannot control Coleman under the boards.
Inbound here by Durfee. Get it to Dee Cavallo. Now Coleman inside. Missed a shot.
A lot of hands in there.
Here's Valerio across the timeline. Lugo back to Valerio. Way up top. Baseline Fonseca. Got it to Tarpey. Try to work his way inside. Had Baptiste open for 3. Back iron. No good. Tipped outside. Valerio with it. Again back to Tarpey. And a near strip there by Hawley, but they'll call him for a foul instead.
That's his first.
4th team foul for Durfee. Here's Valerio. Right side of the arc, Fonseca, corner Tarpey. Tried to get it to Fonseca, was knocked around, and then a tie up inside. Lugo and De Carvalho, no, check that, Coleman. So the ball goes to Durfee with the arrow favoring them this time. Here's the inbound from De Carvalho. Got it to Hawley. Double teamed immediately back to De Carvalho, and they're going to call a foul on Valerio.
Now, Hawley wanted the inbound, but I don't think he realized how close the defender was because he's lucky he even was able to grab that ball in the air before it was maybe swatted or stolen away.
Number 25 is Nelson De Carvalho.
1 for 2 at the free throw line tonight. Has a different little turn, Joe. Pretty smooth on that one.
It's a free throw. Checking in for New Bedford, Dawsonberg.
That was actually his 3rd make. He actually was 2 for 2, Chris, in the first trip.
Yep.
So 3 for 3.
Yep.
And, of course, on the 1-and-1, the first shot, always so important.
It has to be good to earn a second.
You got it.
Here's the second from Dee Cavallo, and his shot is good. 4 points now for Nelson, and Durfee draws back to within 3, trailing at 23-20.
And the free throws keeping Durfee in at 4 for 6 this quarter. Those are 4 major points right now, considering the offense is pretty cold.
That's why you don't want to get in foul trouble. And Durfee's been able to draw fouls against New Bedford. The Whalers already with 18 fouls. Still 3 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first half.
Lewis just picked up that foul on the floor for Durfee. It's their 5th.
Refs playing a little catch-up now with the fouls.
Isn't that always the way?
Got it inside. Ribeiro
Nice move.
spins to the left hand and banks it in off the glass. First points of the night for Elijah Ribeiro, and it's 25-20.
That's a good take, using the height. You just saw on the replay they were able to reach over the defender.
Around the perimeter, Dee Cavallo, pull-up jumper. Back iron, no good. Rebound to Valerio. Going to work it up the floor and then draw the foul from Nieves Martinez.
One thing you'll see, Nieves Martinez, he's very rarely will start, but he'll come in off the bench. He's another very quick player, and he's very aggressive. He loves to get the hands in there, and you'll see a lot of those fouls. You don't see a lot of them actually, under the basket. A lot of them are on the floor trailing the player. So we'll see if that – he actually fouled out, I believe, in the last game. So we'll see if that, has any effect on how he plays defense, how quickly and how touchy-feely the refs will be with that.
Here's Fonseca, right side of the arc. Durfee now with a 3-2 zone. Kick to the corner, Valerio. Thought about it. No. Get it back to Baptiste, and now back to Valerio. 15 on the shot clock. Here's Fonseca behind the back, nearly gobbled up. Got it high post, Dawsonberg. Now Baptiste for 3. Shot no good. Rebound loose inside, knocked out of bounds, and they're going to say it's off of Ribeiro.
And, I'm going to tell you, Nieves Martinez, again, there was a great example of it right there, the double team with him and Holly. He was right on him. But then he came back flying in on Baptiste, and I thought there was some contact after the ball went off. So I think he's lucky that we didn't hear a whistle. It would have been 3 shots for New Bedford.
Hawley nearly lost it. Likes to work to the paint. Got their right hand off the glass. No good. Gets his own miss. Then nicely inside, he finds Dee Cavallo, whose shot is good.
Yeah, Holly not feeling that, the shot off the glass tonight. That's really his bread and butter, and it's not working for him right now.
Ribeiro from the high post, no good. Then Dawsonberg inside. Missed the shot, but he was fouled by number 23, Rivera.
And the crew's asking Rivera, why are you letting him push you out?
Let's take a look at the last possession, guys.
Yep. I just like the look from Hawley. Knew exactly where Dee Cavallo was.
Dawsonberg hits a free throw. Now has 3 points on the night. One of 2 for Ryan Dawsonberg, and Durfee with the rebound. That's Lewis. Quickly down the floor to the left hand. Had it knocked out of bounds by Fonseca. So nice move there by Lewis, but the bigger Fonseca able to send one out of bounds.
Taping up Lugo right now on the sideline. Have to check
Way
on
up
that.
top, Nieves Martinez shot a 3, no good. Rebound to New Bedford. They'll advance it to Baptiste. Got it inside Dawsonberg off the glass, had his shot blocked. Length of the floor, Hawley squeezes up a shot. They're going to count the basket. And a foul called against Gabriel Valerio. So nice move there by Javon Hawley. Turned his body sideways, guys, and was able to draw the contact and make the shot.
Did you see how he split the 2 defenders? You have to take away the speed early so it doesn't create that, which they can't catch up with, and they didn't do it.
This is the free throw. Ball goes out of bounds off of Durfee, so New Bedford basketball. Whalers lead it by 2, 26-24. Here's Valerio. 1:35 left, first half action. Baptiste goes high post to Dawsonberg. Fonseca will take a three. Line drive shot with no spin, no good. Rebound to Durfee. That's Lewis. Advance it to Hawley. Steamrolls his way inside. Had his shot blocked. No foul there.
Wow, where's the foul there, Joe?
Even though Hawley went to the floor. Sometimes officials think that if you're out of control, even if there's some kind of contact, you're just creating it and you're a little bit out of control, they'll hold a whistle. Watch it here.
Oh, my God. It clocked him right in the head.
Looked like Dawsonberg made some contact for sure.
Wow. You know, considering we've heard a lot of whistles and a lot of them have been pretty quick, I'm surprised that that didn't draw a foul. You see what I mean about Will Nieves-Martinez? He's been in for about 4 minutes, already 2 fouls. So
free throw by Baptiste, no good. And
a little extra after there, Joe. You know, we started in the JV game, and Ribeiro and Dee Cavallo, they got hooked up a little bit.
Ball was going to go out of bounds. They're going to call a loose ball foul here, and it's against New Bedford. Ribeiro. So New Bedford's 10th team foul here in the first half, so it's a double bonus. Shooting 2 at the free throw line. Nelson Dee Cavallo.
4 for 4.
Already has 6 points on the night, including the 4 for 4 from the free throw line.
Durfee with a chance to tie it up here with the free throws.
It's the first.
The bottom line, though, they got to do a better job from the field coming out in the second half if they want to compete in this one. They can't sustain it at the line the rest of the way.
And 2 free throws by Nelson Dee Cavallo, and again we're tied, this time at 26. Here's Valerio, crosses the timeline. We were tied after a quarter of play, 14 apiece. High post, Ribeiro got it to Fonseca. Had a 3, turned it down, goes to the paint, off the back iron, no good, loose inside, rebound to Rivera.
Lugo back out there.
Lewis runs the floor, kicks to the corner. This is Hawley to the paint, no good. Kick to the corner, then they're going to call a foul on Ribeiro, I believe, and it'll be 3 at the free throw line by Dee Cavallo.
Not the guy New Bedford wants at the line right now.
Not the way he shot free throws. 6 of 6.
Yeah, 3 shots. I wasn't sure if his foot was in it. You know, we'll see it right here. I couldn't tell if his foot was on the line or not. Just behind it, like maybe an inch.
Makes the free throw. And Durfee with a 27-26 lead.
If I'm not mistaken, Joe, that's Durfee's first lead since the opening 3 for Lewis way back in the first. So
it is.
They've clawed back and they've stayed in it thanks to the foul troubles for New Bedford.
And Carvalho with another free throw. Durfee up by 2. Nelson Dee Cavallo hits. All of that backyard free throw shooting practice paying off for Nelson Dee Cavallo.
9 for 9 at the line here in the first half.
Here's Baptiste. Got the ball to Valerio. Kick to the corner. They look for Lugo inside. Goes off his hands. And it's taken by Durfee. That's Hawley. Try to advance it. Got it to Dee Cavallo. Kicked out of bounds by the Whalers.
I'd like to see Durfee hold on to the ball here. I know they're very aggressive. Clock management came into play a couple times in the last few games I've covered down in Fall River, but they threw it away.
They could have held it for the last shot.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, and that's happened a number of times for Durfee. And, you're up by 3.
Lugo
you might as well
inside.
hold it.
Missed the shot. That's number 5, Lewis. Steamrolls his way inside. Throws up a wild shot. New Bedford will get another look. Get it to Logo for 3 from way outside. Shot no good. And the Durfee High Hilltoppers coming into this one at 3 and 14. Head to the locker room, however, with a halftime lead. It's Durfee 29 and New Bedford 26.
The second quarter jinx continues, Evan. Only 12 points for the Whalers. 15 for Durfee. They have themselves a 3-point lead at the half, and they just look like the fresher team, faster legs, getting to the basket than New Bedford did.
Yeah, well, again, though, it's, what I keep saying, it's great that, free throws that Durfee's been doing so well at the line. That's what really gave them this lead here. But, man, they got to pick it up, with the shots from the field because they're not hitting the baskets when they're out on the floor.
And, guys, Kennedy Johnson is on the floor here tonight. She just won the state championship in the shot put, I'm being told. Chris, we've covered a lot of different sports, not track and field, but we're celebrating here tonight a state championship in the shot put.
Division One.
Division One for Kennedy Johnson.
Remember that. Very impressive.
It's a great accomplishment. And it's not, all these kinds of accolades and milestones. That's one thing the high school level always does. They recognize their student athletes because, it's a major commitment, and it's not just the athlete, it's the families too.
So congratulations to Kennedy. With the score at the half, Durfee 29, New Bedford 26. We will take a break. When we return, we will have second half action for you on Facebook Live, the New Bedford Cable Network, and Fred TV.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
We are back at the half with the score. Durfee 29, New Bedford 26. Joe Cabral, Chris Santos, Evan Massoud here at the Beardsworth Gonzalez Gymnasium. And there with you on Facebook Live, the New Bedford Cable Network, or Fred TV. Quick check here of the leading scorers. Let's go to Evan first of all for a recap from Durfee's side of the ledger.
Well, really, it was Nelson Dee Cavallo for the Hilltoppers leading the way, and that's not normally the case, but he was sent to the free throw line 9 times, and he made all 9 shots. So his 11 points, the bulk of them coming thanks to New Bedford's foul trouble. Holly, 7 points. I'd like to see him heat up a little bit more as this game goes on. Kind of a low-scoring game for him personally. So we'll see what happens here in the second half if he can make some adjustments and maybe find a few more open lanes.
Chris for New Bedford?
Yeah, Fonseca with 8 and Abelarino with 6. The one that disturbs me is Lugo only with 2. Need to get more production out of him, Joe, if they want to win this one.
Baseline, that was Rodriguez. Get it to Fonseca. Takes a mid-range jumper, no good. Rebound inside to Durfee.
You mentioned Rodriguez. The technical foul that we saw way back in the first quarter. So that was because Rodriguez was not in the book and he was out on the court. So I got some clarification from the table during the half. That's why the tech was called.
So an illegal substitution.
Right.
And Abelarino inside on a nice dish. Banks it home. David now with 6 points and has to stay out of foul trouble here in this second half if New Bedford has any hopes of winning.
That was Fonseca there with a nice pass underneath.
And you saw Abelarino wide open.
And that's on Hall. That'll be his 3rd.
And David hits the free throw, so we are tied once again, this time at 29.
That's a tough foul for Hall to take right here in the first 30 seconds of the second half because he didn't play much in that second quarter after picking up his second foul. Now he's already up to 3, so interested to see how long Coach DeCruz keeps him out there.
Nieves Martinez had his shot blocked. Jay Hall comes up with the loose ball.
Lewis starting on the bench for Durfee. Will Nieves Martinez, number 10 on the bottom of your screen. He's still out. Well, ball coming right at us.
Whistle from inside. I'm not sure if the official is concerned about the shot clock. He's looking up at the scoreboard. It says 16 seconds.
Yeah, but the 3 did hit the brim there.
We got a little break. Durfee was 8 for 28 at 28%. They had 11 turnovers in that first half. New Bedford was 10 for 30 at 33%. They had 9 turnovers in that first half. And obviously, Evan said the big key, getting 9 from the free throw line from Dee Cavallo. And I think he's done a pretty good job on the glass as well to keep a lot of things alive. We said someone needed to step up without Pereira here. He's the guy that's doing it.
Yeah, it's basically become 2 guys underneath instead of just the one. You're getting Dee Cavallo basically teaming up with Elijah Coleman. And you mentioned, Joe, you were right. It was a shot clock. It actually should be 4 seconds less, so they knocked it down to 12. So Durfee with less time now to try to get this basket.
That's number 1, Hawley. Pull up, rims out, then back in off the glass. Bucket for Javon Hawley, who now has 9 points. This is Rodriguez. Goes over the top, got it to Lugo. Now Valerio, right side of the arc. That's Lugo, baseline 3, back iron, no good. And again, I don't like to see Lugo out that far from the basket if he's not been working inside early in the game. Nice track down here by Hawley. Crossover move. Hawley with a fine handle. This is Nieves Martinez to the paint. Kicks to the corner. Dee Cavallo now back to Hawley. Again, Dee Cavallo to the goal. Had his shot blocked by Lugo. 5 on the shot clock for Durfee. Jay Hall for 3, and he banks it in off the glass.
Desperation 3 for Hall right there, and he makes it count.
34-29, Durfee's biggest lead of the night at 5. Here's Valerio trying to work to the baseline. Oh, nice pass, found Lugo. And he lays it in.
Lugo's first from the field all night.
Oh, steal here by Valerio to the goal, lay it up, no good. Rebound Lugo, back up. Oh, no good, missed from in close. And then a foul will be called against New Bedford's Valerio. Oh, Lugo, Chris, on his strong hand.
Even the one before that?
Yeah.
Right over the hoop and just flat out goes in and out.
And then Lugo had his
I think we have a replay of that.
Rebound, putback attempt.
Right here. Got to convert.
Go right over the rim.
That was the one they
That
make.
was the previous possession.
But when you go through, watch, Abarino is going to steal it right here. Excuse me, Valerio. And he just misses that layup. And then Lugo the same.
Ball tipped.
Ball out of bounds here. Another turnover for Durfee. Pass intended for Nieves Martinez. So a couple of turnovers each way here in this second half.
Valerio picked up that foul for New Bedford. It was his 3rd, so he's just taking a seat on the bench now.
Look to the low block. Lugo with it. Back up top, Rodriguez. Fonseca thought about a 3, left side of the arc. Works to the paint, kicks to the corner. That's Abalarinwa. They're going to count it as a 3. David Abalarinwa. We saw him do this against Brockton, Chris. Hit some 3s to the goal with a right hand. Shot up no good by Coleman. Tried to follow his own miss, but Dee Cavallo, no, check that, it was Coleman. Shot no good, but he's fouled.
So both sides just trading 5-0 runs here, and what do you know, we're tied again.
At the free throw line, Elijah Coleman.
Well, I've been very impressed, Evan, with the hustle of the 2 big men for Durfee. They've shown in the first half they were here to play, and even now, what they have started here in the second half, they're not afraid down low with Lugo and Abalarinwa. They're going toe-for-toe with them, and that's nice for Durfee to have.
And that's a big difference from matchup number 1 when really they were relying on Holly, and Coach Hill said double team Holly. You talked about it. They went man to man, but you had the one guy sag off underneath, and they double teamed him. He couldn't do anything, and the rest of the team wasn't adjusting to that. But tonight, very different. I think really what it'll come down to is we're almost halfway through the 3rd is can Durfee sustain this? Because that's really been the challenge offensively all year long.
Oh, Abalarinwa misses inside. Then Lugo on a follow missed. It looked like an instant replay of what we saw in the last possession.
Sure was.
Official blowing the whistle here as Baptiste is hobbled and will have to head off the floor. Unbelievably, their two best players, Abelarinwa and Lugo, 2 feet from the goal, both miss.
Well, sometimes that roll, and for Lugo, he's just been so strong, and the ball's just going off the glass too hard. The touch isn't there.
There's Hawley with the basketball. Working against Abelarinwa. Gets to the paint, kicks to the corner. That was a 3, an air ball by Dee Cavallo. Here's Lugo with the rebound. Kicks to the corner, Fonseca. High post, Dawsonberg. Shot for an iron, no good. Abelarinwa tries to save it. Oh, nice effort there by Dee Cavallo.
Might have banged his head against the wall.
And there's no padding there. I mean, there really should be padding all the way around.
That was Coleman, actually. Banged his head against the wall.
That's an ugly collision right there. I'm really surprised. You see a lot of gyms have the padding all the way around. I'm shocked that there's no padding. There's a lot of cement block there that should be covered up.
Holding his head with the trainer there for assistance. That's one we've never seen, Chris. We've done many games here. We've never seen that. Colliding with
They always had the padding underneath the basket, but not full along the wall.
just a diving attempt to save it, and then banged his head. 36-34, Durfee leading it by 2, 4:03 left in the third quarter. And Coleman to his feet. Looks like he'll probably have to go to the sideline.
Of course, you worry with something like that. You think automatically, concussion. I don't know if he went in that hard, but I mean that's concrete blocks are nothing to mess around with either.
And the trainer will, I'm sure, check him out. Go through the concussion protocol.
That's a big loss right now for the Hilltoppers. Coleman's really had a good game. Not a ton of points, but he's been a big factor. So Rivera's in now for him. Jeriel Rivera's in there for him now. Lewis is back in the game as well as Nieves Martinez is taking a seat.
Abelarinwa's jumper from 15 is good. David Abelarinwa.
8 in this quarter.
Now with 12 points. Ball was deflected, but Jay Hall able to tip it over to Lewis. Here's Lewis. Hawley. Rivera back to Hawley. Rivera for 3. Back iron, no good. Rebound to Lugo.
I don't know if you can settle for that one, Evan. I think you have to find a way to get back to get into the basket.
Oh, Abelarinwa had it hammered out of bounds.
And Hall's lucky because that would have been number 4 in the fouls. Yeah. Very lucky.
Yeah, that was a risky play.
Yep.
Aggressive play.
Tied at 36. New Bedford to inbound. Lugo kicks to the corner. Dawsonberg thought about a 3, but bobbled it. Goes low block, Abelarinwa. Inside Lugo. They're going to say on the floor. Again, remember, no continuation in high school basketball. So no bucket there for Lugo. And Jadynn Lewis with the foul. Second on the night. Got it inside. Rodriguez with an acrobatic shot.
Tough one there. And then they throw it away.
Durfee turns it over.
Well, see, this is where it's, you get a little bit sloppy, couple things happen, rhythm breaks, and now Coach DeCruz calling timeout. I'm not surprised. I mean, 4-0, 5-0 runs here, 6-0 runs. I mean, that can really get in the head. And so for Durfee, calm it down, resettle here. I mean, this has been a tremendous game so far for both sides, highly competitive.
38-36, 3:18 left, third quarter action. New Bedford out in front. Joe Cabral, Chris Santos, Evan Massoud here at the Beardsworth Gonzalez Gymnasium in New Bedford. And with you there on Facebook Live, the New Bedford Cable Network, and Fred TV.
Hilltoppers need to find an answer for Abelo Renoir because he's, as Chris said, 8 points in this quarter. He came in with 6, so 14 now for the game, leading all scorers. And Durfee just two shots from the field again. So the shooting from the field has been really, really slow and inconsistent for Durfee. They're lucky that it's only a 2-point game.
And Chris, New Bedford is a different team with David Abelarine was on the floor.
It's something that he wasn't in the second quarter, and you saw the difference, 12 points. That's all they got. He had 2 of them, then he left the game because of foul trouble.
Dawsonberg, a 3 from the baseline, no good. Rebound to Lewis. Ball's loose on the floor, and it's a tie-up between Hawley and Lugo.
And Lewis lost the ball again. We've seen that a couple times tonight from him as well, and that's not normal for him. It's rather uncharacteristic, and had to go diving to try to keep it in bounds. Durfee lucky to keep it.
Lost the handle. Lugo
Here's
was
Hawley.
on.
He'll cross the timeline. Get it to Lewis. Very similar players, Hawley and Lewis. Quick, like to use the left hand to penetrate. Steal here, though, as Lewis lost it. Here's Rodriguez. He'll cross the timeline. Skip to the corner. Lugo works the baseline. Pull-up jumper. Shot is good. So Carlos Lugo has had a quiet night. Hits.
And Evan, you talked about, I think this is a huge 2.5 minutes for Durfee. Cannot let this get away right now.
Oh, deflection by Lugo. He'll get it to Rodriguez. Back to Lugo. Off the glass. He banks it home.
Yeah, the momentum is completely changed here.
Whalers are now using a 2-2-1 half-court trap, but they're called for a foul. Lugo called for his second.
Let's watch it there.
Here's
Underneath.
that last steal.
Yeah.
And the runner by Lugo banked it in.
And New Bedford's third team foul, that one, of course, on the floor. It was actually Lugo's first.
This is Hawley with the basketball, working against Rodriguez. Could not get to the paint.
The defense for the Whalers is tightened up.
New Bedford playing more of a matchup zone here now, and Rodriguez
better calm down.
better be careful. Getting in the face of Hawley a bit there. Made a good defensive play, but and the officials are going to step in and say, if we're going to start doing that, guys, you're going to have troubles.
We'll warn everybody.
And things boiled over in the fourth quarter of the JV game, and now we're going to have a quick substitution here. And I'll tell you, the situation was diffused very quickly in the JV game. So, but it's gonna get very physical. It's been a physical game. It's gonna get even worse as this goes on, especially if it stays this close.
Kick to the corner. Penetration move. And first points of the night for Sebastian Klaas, just
First
in the
look
lineup.
of the night.
First minute of the night. Klaas.
Wow.
Came right off the bench and hits a teardrop inside. Ribeiro lost it out of bounds.
So this is exactly the kind of thing now Durfee should take advantage of. They stopped the bleeding. They just got someone into the game that hasn't played at all. Klaas got the open shot, took it. Now a turnover. You come back, get 2 more points, and start getting some baskets. Start getting some points off the floor.
See, he's right here. When he gives up the ball, Joe, I'd like to deny him more of getting it back. It's too easy for him to get the ball back. I don't want him to get the ball. And then they let him do it, and then he creates, and he
nice
makes plays like
there.
that. See, deny him the ball coming back once he gets rid of it.
Hawley, nice move. Hit the little pull-up jumper. 42-40 now. Durfee back to within 2.
And that was impressive right there from Hawley because
Dawsonberg hits.
Because in the first matchup, he couldn't do that. He was double-teamed right in front of us on the side court here, and he was able to get free. That didn't happen back in January. Here's that shot from Hawley.
Yeah, but he was able to get the ball back after giving it up, and then he just creates his own shot. That's what he does well.
44-40. New Bedford by 4. Durfee with the basketball. Under 40 seconds here now in the third quarter. That's Dee Cavallo. Back to Hawley. Left side of the arc. Hall. He'll take a 3. Back iron, no good. Rebound to Lugo. Neither team really shooting well from distance. Here's Rodriguez. He'll cross the timeline, and New Bedford is able to hold it for a final shot.
Yep.
Neither team has done that here tonight when they've had the chance.
Good look.
Get it inside Dawsonberg. Baseline jumper. His shot is good.
And that's Dawsonberg's range right there. And you've seen it in his points here tonight, which is 7 total.
About an 8-footer for Dawsonberg. And Ribeiro's going to be called for a block. Tried to go to the floor with the flop, and the officials said no. I think if he would have stayed on his feet, there would have been no call. But once he flopped, he said, no, that's not a charge. We're going to give you a block. That's Hawley, baseline 3. As the buzzer sounds to end the third quarter, with the score New Bedford leading it 46-40. So Whalers able to jump back in front in the third quarter, where they were down by as many as 5 points.
Yeah, not a good third for Durfee. Only the 11 points, the lowest point total of any quarter. And you know what? The third has been a problem for them before. New Bedford shut them down in the first matchup. Only 8 points for Durfee in that third quarter back in January tonight, just the 11. So, you go from being up by 3 to being down by 6. That's a major tilt the other direction.
And it was very interesting, fellas. It seemed like the ball deflated for Durfee when Coleman got hurt. When he hit his head, everything just kind of seemed to, well, wait a minute, let's make sure he's okay. And then they lost a lot of energy, and then New Bedford took over with some easy turnovers and got some easy transition baskets. And the next thing you know, they had a pretty good size lead.
Well, good news is Coleman is standing. You see him right on the left side of your screen, number 35. He is standing, but I'm not sure if he's going to come back in. It looks like he may. No, he's taking a seat. Durfee, I think, definitely missing him right now, and he doesn't look too happy, and he's sitting at the end.
Yeah.
I bet he's probably out.
I don't, they're very, very delicate now,
Yeah.
Evan, with this concussion rule.
No, and
So
you know
it's
what?
tough.
It's important, but for him and the players, it definitely is a downer for sure. New Bedford, 20 points there in the third. Big quarter for New Bedford.
Nice pass inside. Abelarino can't connect, gets his own rebound.
But I like the thought process, Joe. Coleman's out. That means only one big man, Dee Cavallo. Let's get into our big man, Abelarino, and let's work the glass.
Yeah, he's tough inside, draws a foul. Will go to the free throw line. Durfee's third team foul here in the second half. And David Abelarino at the free throw line.
Hawley called on the foul, his second.
Hits a free throw.
Small sample size, but that's second make in 3 tries for Abelarino.
And 2 free throws for David. And it's 48-40. New Bedford, 8-point lead, opening up here a bit. Oh, near steal there by Lugo. Again, Durfee here, Evan, has to be careful not to lose touch. Down by 8.
Right, and I said it back in the third with about 4.5 minutes to play in that third quarter. Can Durfee sustain what they've been doing? It hasn't happened this season very often. Right now, it's not happening.
Class misses a free throw. Missed the three-point attempt, I should say. Oh, a nice pass, though.
Ooh.
Oh, he got it to Dee Cavallo, and then Lugo thought he had a block, but is called for a foul.
Wow.
Couldn't see because his back was to us, Joe, so
Must
not
have
sure.
been contact with the body.
That's what they
he
said.
Looked like he blocked it cleanly off the glass, but could have gone right through the man. Haven't seen a replay as of yet.
Yeah, it was a major ricochet off the glass, so there's no doubt he got the ball on it, but you're right, it must have been body contact. And what do you know, Dee Cavallo back at the line. That's his 10th make in 10
here it is,
tries.
guys.
Maybe right here.
Yeah, he went to
right
the floor
shoulder.
hard. He went to the floor hard, so
Yeah.
a lot of body contact. And what a night from the free throw line for Nelson Dee Cavallo, doing his best James Harden impersonation. Foul called inside against Durfee.
That will be on Dee Cavallo.
That's his second, fourth on the team. Carlos Lugo to the free throw line.
Only his second time to the line tonight, guys.
And he misses.
2 for 3 now.
Shooting has been off tonight for Carlos.
Yeah, except for the end of the third there. He had, back-to-back-to-back baskets, but other than that, pretty quiet.
One of two for Carlos Lugo. 7-point New Bedford lead. Here's Hawley. Oh, tried to get it to Class. It's a turnover. And Durfee calls for a timeout. Head coach DeCruz trying to make sure his squad doesn't lose touch here. Down by 7 to New Bedford with 7:21 left in the fourth quarter. 49-42 Whalers. Well, for New Bedford, Chris, a couple of road games coming up, but they need to win this one to stay alive and in the playoff hunt.
Well, the first one's always the big one, Joe, and then they go Monday. They will be at Jeremiah Burke, who they beat earlier in the season with a 70-56 win right here on this court. And can get, obviously, the big one will be at Taunton, which we had right here, and I thought New Bedford played pretty well into the end and ended up losing that one here by 6. That would be on Wednesday. So one game at a time for them. Starts now, find a way to finish it off here in the fourth.
Girls basketball team close to the postseason as well. Need to win a couple more to qualify.
Durfee boys only have one more after tonight. They're playing on President's Day. They're ending their season a little early, and it's actually back in Fall River. They got Boston Latin coming in for a one-shot matchup. No home and home. One of those one-time deals. So they'll finish at home at the Luke Urban Fieldhouse on Monday.
In the corner, that's Fonseca. Got a low block. Lugo, but he's gobbled up. Kicks to the corner. Abalarinwa misses. Dee Cavallo, another rebound. Bounce pass. Got it to Class. His shot no good. Rebound to Abalarinwa.
I know Class hit that jumper, but very few minutes here tonight and on the season.
Lugo for 3. Carlos Lugo hits the triple. And New Bedford up by 10 now, 52-42. Durfee trying to get it over the timeline. Rivera.
Oh, I would have went right to the basket with that.
Got it to Class now. Jay Hall had his shot deflected and blocked.
And Durfee's going to do a better job of getting down the court on some of these fast breaks.
It's a tired group on the floor, Evan.
Yeah.
Very tired.
Lugo running the baseline, missed the shot. A runner, but is fouled and will go to the free throw line. And the foul against Durfee, Sebastian Class. Surprised to see Jadynn Lewis on the bench so much here in the second half, Evan.
Yeah, I mean, I know he had some turnovers. Shooting-wise, only the opening 3, he got the scoring started. Nothing since other than one shot at the line. So kind of a quiet night for him. And, Class a little taller, a little bigger of a body, and I'm wondering if that's kind of Coach DeCruz's thought is we got to get somebody else down low like Coleman since he's not in the game right now.
Lugo with 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 11-point New Bedford lead. Whalers nearly come up with a steal and now do. Here's Valerio, works his way inside. It's going to be called for steps.
Interestingly enough, the official all the way over here on the corner made the call, not the one that was right in front of the play.
And Lewis checks back in, replacing Class. As Durfee needs another ball handler on the floor. Hall trying to inbound, got it to Dee Cavallo. He'll race it across the timeline. Tried to kick it inside, deflected and stolen by Lugo, but Hall gets it back. Now Dee Cavallo.
And I think Durfee's better with Lewis on the floor. Obviously, he's a regular starter. Maybe just even getting a couple minutes of rest. Maybe that's all it was.
Here's Hawley, works his way inside, and a reach-in foul. Those are the bad fouls that Chris alluded to at the start of tonight's telecast. Really nothing there other than just simply reaching in. Not in position. Really can't make a play other than maybe you hit the basketball and knock it loose.
That's Valerio's fourth, and now it puts Durfee into bonus with almost 6 minutes to play here.
And without the free throws, guys, think about it. Chris, without the free throws, Durfee would not be in this one.
No,
that's the point. And now Valerio's got to sit. You know, Durfee did well with Valerio on the bench in that second quarter.
And 2 free throws from Javon Hawley. Durfee back to within 9. Rodriguez tried to split 2 players, could not. Rebound inside Hawley.
Still
and
trying to get
another foul against New Bedford, and it's Rodriguez. So Hawley missing the free throw, missing from the field, and then again fouled, and will go to the free throw line to shoot 2.
Now that's 4 fouls on Rodriguez. New Bedford running into foul trouble here, Joe. Very quickly in the fourth, Rodriguez takes a seat. Now you're going to see Baptiste back out there.
Another free throw for Hawley. Durfee to within 8. All you have to do is look at your score sheet and count Durfee's points and look at how many have come from the free throw line. Dawsonberg with a miss. Advance it to Fonseca. Oh, alley-oop to Lugo, missed the shot. That's Lewis. Gets it up to Hawley. Tries to race his way to the baseline. Teardrop, no good. Rebound, Abel-Arinwa. Collides with
I don't know why we're in
Lewis.
such a rush all of a sudden,
New
Joe.
Bedford all of a sudden playing.
No offense, you have an 8-point lead, even a 10-point,
sloppy basketball.
and you're flying.
And behind the back dribbles, colliding with defenders, just turning the ball over.
But see, to me, that's what speed can do, and Durfee is so fast. The running back crew from football on this team, 3 of them out there, and I think that's almost forced New Bedford to speed it up.
Hawley misses a 3, gets it back, and another reach-in is going to be called. New Bedford with this propensity, Chris, to just reach in constantly and get these cheap fouls, simply put. And the Whalers already with 9 team fouls.
Yeah, and the clock keeps stopping, and that's just helping out the Hilltop as much as possible.
And if you look at how many points Durfee has scored tonight. And if you figure it out, it looks just like grazing at the score sheet.
24 points total.
Yeah,
without the free throws.
It's more than it's almost half their points from the free throw line.
Hey, though, free throws are part of the game. If New Bedford's going to give you the line, you got to make them too. And Durfee's made them. That's credit them. They haven't had a night like this. Making this higher percentage at the line. They haven't had a night like this in a very long time. So, that's a good thing. Maybe that's what they worked on this past week. They had 6 days off. Maybe Coach DeCruz said, guess what, guys? We're taking shots from the line. I don't know. But it's really been impressive because they haven't gotten a lot of good looks on the field, but when they're giving the ball at the line, they're making the shots, and those are precious points right now.
Of the 21 points from the free throw line for Durfee, Dee Cavallo has 11, and he's 11 for 11. At the free throw line this time, Javon Hawley.
Hawley 4 for 7, 3 for 4 in his last 2 trips, which have been over the last maybe 30 seconds. This was a 1-and-1, so that's a big first shot.
It's the first free throw. After this, any New Bedford fouls, it's double bonus. So Whalers really hurt themselves here tonight with the foolish fouls. Keeping Durfee in this one. And Hawley misses the second. Dawsonberg comes away with it. Got it to Lugo. Here's Baptiste. Back to Lugo. He's gobbled up. Gets it to Baptiste. To the corner. Fonseca. Took a runner. No good. Abelarino squeezes up a shot. And another foul. This fourth quarter has been one foul after another.
8 total for both sides.
It's been Turtle on the clock.
That's Jay Hall with his fourth foul.
Snail and Turtle.
I got to say, I liked Durfee has not pressed much. I said that against in the BR game last Friday. They had an opportunity. They really didn't do any pressing on defense, and they're starting to do that a little bit here as this fourth quarter hits the midway point.
Well, sometimes even when it's not your strength, you can catch your opponent off guard.
Well, I think you have to do it. I mean, if you just stay in one look the whole game, sooner or later, you're going to figure it out. You played 3.5 quarters, and, you know, you're trailing right now if you're Durfee out of bounds. Can't have that, though. No, Durfee's got to press, I think, and I'm glad to see it because at least it'll give New Bedford something else to think about. Like you said, Joe, it might rattle them a little bit.
Oh, Lugo slices his way to the goal and lays it up and in. 57-46, New Bedford back up by 11. Whalers just have to have composure on the defensive end.
Offensive?
Oh, they're going to call a block there on Lugo. Looked like he lowered his shoulder, Jay Hall that is. And
yeah, sure did.
Even though Lugo was maybe moving a little bit, when you lower your shoulder like that, usually it's an offensive foul. There's Lugo slicing to the bucket, lays it in with the left hand, and then quickly down the other end of the floor, a foul called against Lugo.
New Bedford maxed out at 10, so 4:23 to play. Durfee's taking 2 shots the rest of the game. Hall hitting the first there. Lugo, though, huge second half. Abelarino as well, but Lugo's been the man. 13 points by my count in the second, 15 for the game.
Hall's second free throw is good. Hits them both. 57-48, 9-point lead. Baptiste trying to defeat the pressure. Goes over the top, turns it over. Dee Cavallo came away with it.
Hilltoppers don't have a basket from the field here in the fourth.
Hawley got it to Hall in the corner. Hall back to Hawley. Gonna go one-on-one here. Kicks it to Hall, that's a 3, no good. Rebound to Baptiste. Advances it to Fonseca. Head of the pack, Abelarino. And another foul. The never-ending parade of fouls here in the fourth quarter.
Hawley's third, it's the 7th, so now New Bedford into bonus as well. And Abelarino has hit his last 5 free throws.
David Abelarino at the free throw line. To shoot 2. So check that, 1-1, missed the free throw. Fonseca with the rebound, leans his way in and banks it in. Tried to draw contact, didn't get the call, but made the shot. Back to an 11-point New Bedford lead. Whalers just have to be disciplined here and not reach in. They've just committed so many foolish fouls. Oh, this time Lugo comes up with a steal. Try to advance to Abelarino. Oh, squeezes up a shot, no good, but another foul. This time it's on Jadynn Lewis. Steal by Lugo here, takes it away.
But impressed how he did held on to his position, fellas.
You know, going back to the last trip down there on the miss from Abelarino, I mean, that's the difference. That's what's been going on, and that's why Durfee's not been able to keep up with New Bedford. Whalers are getting those extra shots. The Hilltoppers are not.
Another miss by Abelarino from the free throw line. Hall off the glass on a miss. Rebound to New Bedford. Baptiste with it, crosses the timeline, got it to Fonseca. Chris is imploring that New Bedford slow it down. They just refuse to do so.
Yeah.
Fonseca squeezes it back up and in.
This one getting out of hand for the Hilltoppers.
13-point New Bedford lead. Now, if you're the Whalers head coach, Matt Hill, you're going to tell your squad, we can press, but we can't reach in. Let's see if there's an errant pass, a turnover, slow Durfee down by doing that. Durfee, conversely, it's to your point here now, Evan, you're not going to come back from 13 down at the free throw line. So you got to start finding some way to score field goals.
Well, first of all, there's not a lot of depth on this Durfee team, unfortunately. And when you lost Coleman, that really hurt. And it set the tone of, okay, now we're even going to get more tired because now I can barely run 5, maybe a 6 guy, and that's pretty much it. So they've been out there mostly, obviously, the entire third and fourth, and it's wear and tear time, and that's what happens when you struggle in the fourth quarter. And he's talked about it late games. We can't be effective because, obviously, we don't have the personnel that we want on there.
No, you hit the nail on the head, Chris, is that this game has completely changed since Coleman went out back in the third quarter. That's really where the turning point was. Momentum shifted. New Bedford got a couple shots. Durfee lost their starter, their guy underneath, and it just hasn't been the same. And it's a shame because, despite not really scoring from the field, it had been a very competitive and close game up until that point. But this reminds me of last Friday so much for Durfee against BR. It's the same type of thing. Very close through 3 quarters, and then everything just really shut down in the fourth.
And when you don't have a lot of bench strength, what happens is fourth quarter, you get a little fatigued.
Yeah, of course. I'll tell you, though, the JV team for Durfee, I really think next year, I think this varsity team could be very good. JV this year, every game I've been to for varsity, I think this is my 5th one, JV has won, and it's been rather handily. It hasn't just been like buzzer beater shots. So future's bright for the Hilltoppers.
Durfee turns it over, and David Abelarinwa lays it up and in. Totally different type of pressure from New Bedford. Really, 3-quarter court. That's Hawley for 3. Missed the shot. Follow inside Rivera, no good. Rebound to Dawsonburg.
Yeah, even the second shot doesn't go for Durfee. With New Bedford, they're getting the shots the second time.
Lugo takes a 3, missed inside. Loose ball, comes up with it. Lays it up and in.
Exhibit A.
Well, basically, it's thrown in the towel time right now for Durfee.
Yeah.
17-point New Bedford lead, 65-48. And another foul.
I thought that could have been offensive. It looked like Lugo was pretty planted. I'm a little surprised by that one. I mean, there have been a lot that were defender didn't really plant it, but I thought he was kind of planted there. A little surprised.
Lewis to the free throw line for Durfee.
That's Lugo's 4th.
But with 1:58 left, New Bedford in front by 17. Whalers, however, Chris, refused to hold the basketball and use the shot clock.
Lugo, the heels came up. He went up to try to block.
Yep.
So wasn't full plant like I thought. The feet stayed put, but the heels came up. So we'll say half planted.
Sounds right.
If that makes sense.
1 of 2 by Lewis. New Bedford with it. Dawsonburg got it to Abelarinwa. Goes up off the glass and in.
Wow, what a second half.
David Abelarinwa.
Yeah, the 2 guys that we talked about, and I said somebody needs to step up there in the third, and I said the name Lugo. He only had 2 points, and now he came up in the second half.
And Abelarinwa is up to 22 by my count.
Dee Cavallo from outside, no good. Rebound to the Whalers.
It's brick after brick for Durfee. We're under 90 seconds and still have not found the basket from the field here in the fourth quarter. Utterly frustrating.
Imagine that. No field goals in the fourth quarter.
Nope.
Dawsonburg with a loose ball on the floor.
Travel.
Spins around.
That's unprecedented in this matchup, in this game, and that's really tough way to end it.
If you can't score at all from the field, you are going to lose.
Right, absolutely.
So I mean, the free throws kept you in, but in this fourth quarter, you've not even been able to complement your free throws with something from the field. Held scoreless from the floor in the second half, and that's a 10-second violation. New Bedford to inbound. The pressure, the more passive, Chris, pressure, 2-2-1,
Yep.
where you basically three-quarter court, let the offense come to you. High post, Dawsonberg. Fonseca thought about a three. Pass deflected inside. Dawsonberg came away with it. And another foul.
Lewis, number 4 for them.
Ryan Dawsonberg to the free throw line. Has 7 points on the night. Hits a free throw. 68-49. Whalers are blown it open here in the fourth quarter. 1 of 2. Jay Hall with the rebound. Crosses the timeline. That's Hawley. As to work his way inside, banks it in.
Finally, one from the field. Hawley's been out there for all 31 and a half minutes.
Oh, Fonseca had his shot blocked by Rivera. Here's Hawley ahead of the pack.
The Hall. Oh.
Abelarino
Oh, man.
blocked the shot, threw it to the sideline. Rivera for 3. Shot is good.
Too little, too late, guys, you know. That's a heck of a block, though.
Oh, nice steal there by Lewis. Lays it up and in.
I mean, obviously, Durfee's getting these last shots because New Bedford
That'll
backed down, but doesn't tell the story. This game is not as close as it should be. The cheering section for the students show.
The Whalers fans going out on the floor. You don't see this much anymore.
No, especially considering this didn't win a conference or a tournament game. It's just a regular season game.
This obviously was somewhat coordinated by the students because this is not normal. They lift Carlos Lugo up
it's
onto
their last
their
home
shoulders.
game.
Oh, it's senior night, too.
Senior night, and they've really responded to Carlos Lugo this year, calling him their MVP and even put in the paper that he was the best player in the South Coast area. So,
Yeah, kid's good.
He showed up in the second half when he only had 2 points in the first, and he got his game going. You add that in with Abelarino, and those two dominated pretty much the third and fourth quarters.
Yeah, Lugo dominated in the first matchup against Durfee, 25 points for him in that one. But Abelarino was a little quieter tonight. He really pretty strong against the Hilltoppers. Again, it goes back to the loss of Coleman. I think it really shook up Durfee, and they weren't able to continue doing what had been working for them. So for the Hilltoppers, another very tough fourth quarter. I mean, they put up 16 points, but almost half of those came in that last 20 seconds when it really didn't matter, and New Bedford was back. So, needless to say, another tough loss for Durfee. It's their 15th loss.
Yeah, I just think the depth, and when Coleman went out, it was very difficult for them to get their feet going and get themselves balanced with enough guys to swap here and there. Then it was foul trouble and different things happening, unfortunately for them. It was a tough fourth quarter, as you said, but it's been like that all year. And those teams will regroup, and they're young, and they will get better, and I'm sure the Crews will have them better. Got a good JV team unit, too. Get them involved as well. Should be a pretty good year for them, hopefully, next year.
Do want to just clarify one thing. I did say Durfee had one more game. They actually do have 2. It slipped my mind. So they're home on Monday against Boston Latin, but they're going to be traveling across the street to face off against Conley in the regular season finale. So they do have 2 left, and that'll be the LaFrance Gymnasium will be rocking on Ellsbury Street for sure in that one because Billy Shade's got the Cougars in high gear heading to the tournament.
And Burke on Monday for New Bedford at Burke, and Taunton on Wednesday, Joe. 2 tough ones on the road. You got to win both if you want to make it.
Yeah, and if you beat Jeremiah Burke, they beat them earlier in the season. Wow, what a setup on Wednesday night next week
Yep.
against Taunton in Taunton to make or break the Whalers' season. That could very well be the case.
See what happens.
Well, that'll do it from the Beersworth Gonzalez Gymnasium in the Ed Rodricks Court with the final score for a final time. It was New Bedford 68 and Durfee 56. For my partners tonight, Chris Santos and Evan Massoud, I'm Joe Cabral. Thanks for joining us, and have a good night, everyone.